Hey guys, and welcome to another Music Habits video. This is where I take excerpts from my best-selling book, The Mental Game of Electronic Music Production, and share it with you guys to give you little snippets that you can put to use right away. In this episode, I'm going to get into what I consider to be the most important habit that you can learn. This is a one habit that if you just learn this one, everything else will become much easier. So a really important one to develop. So I like to start these off with a review from my book. This one is from Phil from the UK. He didn't leave a last name, so thanks Phil for this. And he titles it, "It's All in the Mind and the Habits." And he writes, "I've got several of Jason's Ableton Live tutorial videos and sample packs, which are of a very high quality, as is the material here. It's written in a very informal style with short chapters. And I found it hard to read it in large chunks simply because I kept getting the inspiration to fire up live quite often. Live meaning Ableton Live. So that was a positive point, not a negative. It deals with the underlying thoughts and habits that can get you properly into the game of music production, some of which is counterintuitive, and why I haven't actually finished a track for far too long before this. And all of this is from Jason's firsthand experience. If you don't think you have enough time, or you need to read every manual, watch every tutorial video, and make every track your best ever, and be a musical genius before you can get started, you need this book. Easy to read and very useful." Thanks again, Phil. So let's get into this. So this is kind of what I consider to be the one habit to rule them all, if you will. It's a very simple concept, but it's not necessarily easy, and it's going to take practice. It's going to be something that you'll want to commit to for 30 days straight, to really get it ingrained in your system. And what this is about is the fact that the way you react to things has become very automatic for you. So without effort, this is not going to change at all. So you're going to continue with the reactions, and those reactions become your habits, okay? So what you really need to do to start getting a concept of changing your habits is to find that moment between the action and the reaction, okay? There's that little gap that you have that gives you an opportunity to make a different choice instead of your automatic choice. Now, the reason that changing a habit is so hard is because at least 80% of what we do daily is an ingrained habit. It's ingrained in us. And in some ways, this can be a positive thing because the brain tries to save energy. It's trying to hold your mental energy for the most important aspects because you've got a limited supply. So anytime that you are doing something new, that takes extra mental resources, if you will. So so the downside of changing habit is that it's hard to do something new because you've created and strengthened these neural pathways of the habits that you already have, and the habits that maybe you had at one point and slowed down on or stopped doing, those neural pathways have weakened. So when you try a new habit, the old habits, the neural pathways for those old habits are much stronger than the new habit, okay? But remember, here's the thing is, if you learn this one new habit, then you could kind of start changing all your habits, and it makes you much more aware of everything. So without further ado, what is this habit? This habit is the habit of thinking and saying to yourself, "I don't feel like it," all right? The brain always fights for the status quo, for what you always do. Once again, just to reserve and save energy. So your brain is going to react with "I don't feel like it" to any new habit, all right? Other tricks the brain plays on you is just one more day won't hurt. We don't need to do this today. And from moment to moment, this is going to control the rest of your life if you don't really lock this in and pay attention to it. So what I recommend is a new reaction. In order to really dial in the new reaction, you have to recognize the action that's making you react. So you need to get yourself more aware from a moment-to-moment basis, all right? So what I recommend that you do, instead of trying to avoid things that seem uncomfortable, things that you're reacting to, what you should do instead is seek out things that you're not wanting to do in the moment. What is it right now that I don't want to do? What is it right now that I'm putting off? This is really going to help shift you in many, many ways, because what you're doing is you're actually aiming towards the discomfort instead of running from it, right? So ask yourself, what am I avoiding now? You can even set a timer like once an hour, just to go off Just so every time that timer goes off, you can ask yourself that question of what am I avoiding right now? And you may realize that you catch yourself doing something that's very automatic, but not very productive, okay? And especially when it comes to your creative art, it's not made into a necessity, you know? It's not made into a habit yet. So it's always going to be put off and replaced with something that you do regularly. It requires less energy, but it also has a much lower return on investment, if you know what I'm saying. So the thing about this is when you start practicing this or any new habit, it's not going to feel right. Your brain's going to tell you that this is wrong. It's the wrong time. It's the wrong action. It's not going to work anyway. I don't have time for this. All that sort of stuff's going to come up. Okay. And you'll know this because your brain will try to find some automatic thing that you normally do to replace the new habit. Okay. After about a week though, of going after the things that you don't normally want to do and addressing it, it will start to feel normal. And within the 30 days, it'll start feeling abnormal to not do this new habit. Okay. To not have this new reaction. So it's just a process of fighting through this rejection of the new habit, if you will. So think about it this way. Anytime you say to yourself, I don't feel like it, or just one more day, think of that now as a call to action, a call to immediate action. So when you feel that, don't delay, get up and do the thing, right? Once again, this is an easy concept, but it's really hard to do. So really be mindful of this as you're trying to take this on. Challenge yourself to do the uncomfortable and kind of laugh at the part of you that makes excuses. As the excuses come up, just kind of realize how ridiculous it is and the pattern that's going on. Once you recognize the pattern, it becomes, you know, kind of funny, really. What I also recommend is try journaling a couple pages a day to kind of uncover beliefs that may be holding you back, right? You know, kind of write down your beliefs and, you know, both your positive and negative ones, but find those belief systems that are antiquated, that are no longer serving you, all right? And try to tackle those. Try to figure out what about those habits may be holding you back. What about those belief systems that you have that may be holding you back? And then when it comes to like big projects that you're putting off, you know, big things, make a to-do list where you break that big thing into 15, 20 small things, you know. Usually the task can be about 30 minutes. I would suggest no more than an hour though, because then it starts seeming like a bigger task that you don't want to take on. So yeah, once again, you could set a timer for 30 minutes and take on that task and try to make sure that the tasks that you are putting in your list are smaller versions that you can get done in a half hour and at the most 1 hour, right? This is going to make it much easier to chip away at something big, you know, and change a big habit or take on something that you've been putting off, right? So with that, you know, take this on, commit to it for 30 days, and start to watch every area of your life just shift and start to improve just with this one habit of moving towards the I don't feel like it as a call to action. I hope this helps you guys. I hope you're able to apply this to many aspects of your life and especially your creative life. So if you like videos like this, make sure to pick up my book, The Mental Game of Electronic Music Production, on Amazon. You do not need a Kindle device to watch it on any computer or mobile device. There's a free app that makes it really easy to do that. And if you want to dive deeper with me, if you kind of vibe with the approach that I take and you've got a music production challenge, or you want to learn more about Ableton, which is a specific program that I dive into with my clients, feel free to get a hold of me by just going to musicsoftwaretraining.com/application. Just answer a few quick questions, and in there you'll be able to schedule a free 20-minute consultation, and we can just kind of go back and forth and see what your challenges are and what the best next approach might be. So with that, guys, have a fantastic day. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe.